May 23, 2024. I needed to make an announcement about the shade meeting. Mr. City Attorney, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On May 9th, 2024, under the provisions of Section 286.011, parentheses 8, Florida statutes, I've requested that this City Commission meet in private to discuss pending litigation in the cases of, number one, the Mad Room LLC, DBA Ball and Chain, Altos Mexicano, LLC, DBA Taquerias El Mexicano, Little Havana Arts Building LLC, and La Gran Fiesta LLC versus City of Miami, case number 21 CV 23485-RKA, pending in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. Second case is Tower Hotel LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, Piedras Villas LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, Beatstick LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, El Shopping LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, and Joamo Calle Siete, a Florida Limited Liability Company versus City of Miami, case number 2022-008069-CAA 44, pending in the Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County, Florida. And the third case is Tower Hotel LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, Piedra Villas LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, Beatstick LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, El Shopping LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, and Joamo Calle Siete LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company versus City of Miami, case number 3D23-285, pending in the District Court of Appeal in the State of Florida, 3rd District, to which the City is presently a party. The City Commission approved my request and will now, at approximately 3:20, commence a private attorney-client session under the parameters of Section 286.011, parentheses 8, Florida statutes. The subject of the meeting will be confined to settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to litigation expenditures. This private meeting will conclude approximately 1 hour later. The session will be attended by the members of the City Commission, which include the Chairwoman, Christine King, Vice Chairman Joe Carollo, Commissioners Miguel Angel Gabela, Damian Pardo, and Manolo Reyes, the City Manager, Arthur Noriega V, myself, the City Attorney, George Wysong, Chief Deputy City Attorney John A. Greco, Deputy City Attorney Kevin Jones, Assistant City Attorneys Eric Eves and Marguerite Snyder, and City of Miami's outside counsel Raquel A. Rodriguez Esquire, Michael E. Dutko Esquire, and Angel Cortinas Esquire. A certified court reporter will be present to ensure that the session is fully transcribed and the transcript will be made public upon the conclusion of the above-cited ongoing litigation. At the conclusion of the attorney-client session, the regular commission meeting will be reopened and the person chairing the commission meeting will announce the termination of the attorney-client session. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Now, we did have a personal appearance, time certain, for the Supervisor of Elections. Would my colleagues mind if she makes her presentation before we go upstairs? Okay. You guys?
No, yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the
afternoon.
City of Miami
Thank you.
Commission.
I appreciate this very, very much, and I will try to be very brief. First, I want to thank you for inviting me here today. I'm very encouraged that this is a topic that you guys are willing to consider. I know that Todd has circulated the letter that I wrote to him to all of you, and that you guys have had an opportunity to look over it. The Elections Department is requesting what I am calling a modest amount of additional time between your general and runoff election. And I just want to say right off the top, it's not just the city of Miami. This is every city that has a runoff election that is 2 or 3 weeks from their general election. Why yours is a little bit more complicated is because it is coupled with Miami Beach and Hialeah, of course, large cities. So for us to be able to turn around your general and your runoff within 2 weeks for these large cities is really burdensome for all parties. And when I say all parties, it's the department, it's voters first and foremost, and I think candidates as well, because we've heard that it's difficult to do this. And so the request in the letter was for 4 weeks. And I think you probably know there are many steps that are involved in preparing for an election. Each one of them are in sequence, and they have to be done with 100% accuracy, right? There is zero opportunity or tolerance for error in what we do. And so the 2-week time that is currently designated really was set up at a time where voting was primarily on election day. Now modern day voting takes into account a significant amount of people voting by mail and also early voting. And so for us, it's from certification of your first election until the first vote by mail ballots that go out. And that window is very, very small as it is. And also, many laws have changed. Little by little, election laws have changed, making it more complicated for us. One example is that, you may know this already, voters have until Thursday at 5 p.m. to cure their vote by mail ballot, also to provide information to us to accept their provisional ballots. And so it's not really until Friday after the election that the canvassing board is certifying. And if we have a recount, which, knock on everything, that doesn't happen, but in Florida races, that is more and more common. That just begins to set us back even more and more. So we can't even begin to prepare for a runoff election until sometime Saturday. And so what is involved? What has changed? We have to code, proof, and test 3 different voting systems. Only then can we send our ballot for printing. Only then can we begin processing and mailing those ballots out to your voters. Separately, we have to reset, reprogram, and retest all of the equipment, set up and conduct early voting, deliver all of your equipment. The list goes on and on. It's a lot to take on in 2 weeks. And so these are some of the logistical burdens that I'm hoping to alleviate on the department side. On the voter side, I worry about the vote by mail voters in particular, because there's the short period that exists really isn't affording them enough time to return their ballot. In the letter, I state that in your 2023 runoff election, which was only districts 1 and 2, we had 8 days of total delivery time to mail the ballot to the voter and get it back to us between when we were ready and election day at 7 p.m., which is the statutory requirement for a return. And what has also happened, in addition to the changing election laws, is that the Postal Service has changed their service delivery standards. And so what they have notified us is that local mail takes up to 3 days on the way out and 3 days on the way in Miami-Dade County. If you're somewhere else in Florida or if you're in another state, it could be up to 10 days. And so as you can see, these dates are just not lining up anymore. And as I also stated in the letter, I gave you guys some statistics that in the last election, 565 voters, or 11% of your vote by mail voters, had their ballot rejected because it came in late. And, I can imagine that that's not a number that any of us are comfortable with. That can change the election. And so providing a little more additional time, I think, is favorable to the voter as well. Lastly, because I am trying to run through this quickly, I know you have your other meeting, as I promised. On the candidate side, we're being asked for data. We're being asked for information to go out and campaign and get people to turn out to vote in the runoff. It's becoming very difficult for us to provide that information to you guys in that short period of time. I have to certify the election. I have to do all my internal procedures before I can provide that data. And so I think the candidates, I mean, we've polled this, right? I've asked around, are people generally favorable to this idea of extending it? And so far I've been getting very good feedback. People understand the need to give us additional time. And, with that, I do so initially my suggestion was to have the election in October, your original election in October, with your runoff in November. But I have since heard that there may be a desire to keep your first election on the original first Tuesday in November and push out the runoff. Perfectly acceptable and amenable to that idea, but what I want to caution you guys about is that if you do the 4 weeks, which is what I've been talking about as a minimum, it is literally the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And that's not ideal for the exact reasons that I just talked about. People are going to be traveling, vote by mail ballots are going to be coming in late, early voting would be over Thanksgiving holiday. That's not great. So, I don't think that that's the model that we should do. I think if we like November, December, that we should probably do 5 weeks. That would give us one additional week, and it would take us out of the overlapping of the Thanksgiving holiday. And I have also asked the other cities, Miami Beach and Hialeah, how they feel about that, because I really would love to keep everybody on that consolidated calendar if we can. And so they're floating that as well. And so I think that's everything in summary. I don't know if you had questions for me or if you just wanted me to get the idea out there.
Thank
for
you.
Now.
I don't know. Do my colleagues have any questions? Okay.
Cumbersome. I mean, very little time between election and runoff. And I agree that we need more time. See, when you get into an election, you have to raise money, you have to get all the data, you have to do a lot of things, and 2 weeks is not enough. And 5 weeks, I agree with it. I mean, let me
That's
think
a
about
lot.
it.
5 weeks after is a lot, but I don't really have any questions now if you guys don't have any. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And at this time, we will recess the City of Miami Commission meeting for May 23rd, 2022, 24. And see you back in a bit.
After this.
And just for the record, recess for the attorney-client session.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay.